The day extraterrestrials learned the truth about humanity's ancient weapons. In the year 2147, a huge fleet appeared at the edge of the solar system. The ships belonged to the Great Coalition from the core worlds, the insect-like Kelt, the shining crystal Vorin, and the strange machine flesh Srath. All flew together in perfect formation. Their vessels glowed with bright energy shields and long, sharp weapons that could cut planets apart. The Coalition had watched Earth for many years. They saw humans leave their small world and build fast colonies on Mars and the outer moons. They saw the new, faster-than-light drives humans made in secret. The Coalition leaders decided this young race must join their empire or be crushed. They did not ask nicely. A single message came to every screen on Earth and every ship in human space. The voice was cold and hard. This is Vizier Kar of the Kelt High Command. The Coalition claims this system. Surrender your worlds, your ships, and your people within one standard day, or face total destruction. Resistance is pointless. Your technology is weak. Your fleets are small. Your kind is young and soft. People on Earth looked at the message. Many felt fear. Some felt anger. Most stayed calm, because the Terran Concord, the one government of all humanity, had prepared for this day long ago. Admirals met in underground rooms. Scientists checked old plans. Leaders spoke in quiet voices. They chose one person to answer. Admiral Elena Vasquez appeared on the broadcast. She stood straight in her plain gray uniform. Her face showed no fear. She spoke slowly and clearly. "We heard your words, Vizier Kar. Humanity requests a meeting, face to face, on the far side of the moon. Neutral ground, no weapons, no tricks. We want to talk first." Laughter came from the Coalition ships. The sound was sharp, like breaking glass. Vizier Kar himself appeared on screen, his tall body covered in black armor. His many eyes glowed green. Waved one clawed hand. "This small blue world dares to ask for talk. How cute your race thinks words can save you. We see your tiny ships, your weak shields, your funny little colonies. We will take what we want, and you will kneel." The Coalition fleet moved closer. Thousands of fighters spread out like hungry insects. Scans swept over Earth, over the moon, over Mars. The aliens looked for strong defenses. They found none that scared them. Human ships looked old next to Coalition giants. Energy readings were low. No giant planet killers, no swarms of killer drones. The Coalition laughed again. Deep scanners, however, found strange things buried. Signals came from under the oceans, from ice in Antarctica, from forgotten mountains. The energy was old and steady, not like modern power. It pulsed quietly, like something sleeping. Vizier Kar looked at the data and turned to his science officer. "What are these bumps in the dirt? Ancient trash from their Stone Age?" he asked. The officer, a thin Vorin with glass skin, clicked mandibles, "Probably old reactors or dead machines. Nothing worth our time." The Vizier nodded. "We ignore the garbage. We focus on the prize. Soon this world will be ours. The soft humans will learn their place." On Earth, the response stayed calm. Factories worked day and night. Farms sent food to cities. Trains carried supplies. People went to work. Children went to school. Life looked normal. But under the surface, things moved. Old codes unlocked. Old doors opened. Old eyes woke up. Admiral Vasquez sat in her command room on Luna Base. She looked at screens that showed the Coalition fleet. Her officers stood around her. One asked, "Are we really going to talk to them?" She answered, "Yes, we talk first. If they listen, good. If not, we show them what they woke up." The meeting place was chosen. A flat plain on the moon's far side. No satellites watched. No ships flew close. A simple dome rose from the gray dust. Breathable air filled it. Chairs waited on both sides. Humans arrived first. People in plain suits, No guns, no armor. They sat and waited. The coalition delegation came down in a shining shuttle. Vizier Kar stepped out first. Behind him walked two huge Sroth guards. Their metal arms clicked with every step. A Voran scientist floated beside them, recording everything. The Vizier looked down at the humans. His voice boomed. "You asked for talk. Here we are. Speak your last words before we take your world." Elena Vasquez stood up. She looked small next to the tall alien, but her voice stayed steady. "We do not want war. We want peace. The galaxy is big enough for many races. Humans can share. We build, we learn, we grow. Let us join as equals, not as slaves." Vizier Kar laughed again. The sound hurt ears. "You think you are equal? Look at your planet. One storm could kill millions. Your cities flood. Your people fight over water and food. You are children playing with fire. We are the adults. We bring order. We bring strength. Kneel or die." The human admiral did not move. "Again, you see weakness. We see something else. We survived ice ages. We survived plagues. We survived wars that almost ended us. We learned from every mistake. We keep what we learn, even the hard lessons. You call us children. Maybe we are. But children grow up." The Vizier waved a claw. "Enough of this. We waste time. Our fleet waits above your world. One word from me, and your cities burn. Your oceans boil. Your moon becomes dust. Choose now." Elena looked at her people, then back at the alien. "We choose to talk more. If you will not listen, then you choose what happens next." Vizier Kar turned away. His guards followed. The shuttle rose fast back to the sky. The aliens felt sure the humans would break soon. They flew to their command ship and prepared landing teams. They wanted key places, mines, factories, spaceports. They sent soldiers down without fear. One team landed in Siberia. Snow covered the ground. Wind howled. Machines dug into frozen earth. They searched for minerals, but found something else. A hidden door under the ice. Heavy and old, covered in warning signs. The team leader, Asrath, laughed at the human writing. "Probably a food storage or toy bunker. Break it open." Explosives cracked the door. Metal screamed, then silence. Inside, lights flickered on. Rows of long shapes stood in lines, covered in dust. Each shape held death. Each shape waited quietly for many years. Thermonuclear warheads waited in perfect rows. Next to them stood missiles with many heads. Some carried germs, some carried gas. All waited. The Srath touched one warhead. Curious fingers brushed old metal. A small light blinked. A signal shot out fast and quiet. It traveled under oceans, through mountains to space. It reached every hidden place, every sleeping vault, every forgotten satellite. On Earth, alarms rang soft and low. In bunkers under seas, in old mountains, systems woke up, fans spun, pumps pushed, doors slid open, lights turned green. The coalition team did not know what they started. Pictures sent data back to the fleet. Vizier Kir looked at the images and smiled. "Crude weapons from a dead age," he said. "Nothing's a fear. We will melt them for scrap." But far away in quiet rooms, humans watched screens. Numbers climbed. Readiness bars turned green. Voices spoke in calm tones. "All vaults report active. All systems green, waiting final command." Admiral Vasquez sat alone. Now she looked at one screen that showed the coalition fleet hanging over Earth like a storm. She whispered to herself, "You wanted our secrets? You will get them all." The day had just begun. The day extraterrestrials learned the truth about humanity's ancient weapons. The coalition landing teams spread across Earth like shadows. They moved fast and sure. They took what they wanted, without asking permission. One group flew low, over the frozen plains of Siberia. Their shuttle hovered above thick ice. Wind pushed snow in wild circles. The soldiers inside wore heavy armor that glowed faint blue to keep out the cold. The team leader was a Srath named Cress. His metal limbs clicked as he pointed down. There the readings show heavy metal under the surface. Probably a rich mine or old storage. Break ground now, the pilot nodded. The shuttle dropped sharp drills, spun loud, metal screamed against ice. Chunks flew everywhere. Soon, a wide hole opened, black and deep. They lowered ropes and climbed down. Lights from their helmets cut through darkness. At the bottom they found a flat wall of thick steel, covered in frost. Human writing glowed red under layers of ice. Danger. Radiation. Keep out, the SS Arath laughed at the words, primitive warnings from scared monkeys. They set small charges along the edges. Fire bloomed quick and bright. The door twisted, then fell inward with a heavy crash. Inside, the air smelled old and dry. Rows of long metal tubes stood silent. Each tube held something heavy and waiting. Dust covered everything, but the shapes looked clean and ready. Lights blinked on, slow and steady, as if the place had waited for this exact moment. Cress stepped forward. His claws touched one tube. Cold metal met cold metal. A small panel opened under his touch. Green lights flashed. Numbers ran fast across the screen. "What is this?" he asked. His voice echoed in the empty hall. One soldier, a Vorin, with clear crystal skin, leaned close. Old human bomb design from their last big war. Crude but heavy. Explosive yield looks high enough to crack a small moon. Cress tilted his head. "Interesting. We take samples back to the ship, melt them, study the tech. Perhaps their old toys have some value." "Use." He reached for a control stick on the nearest tube. His claw brushed a hidden switch. Something clicked deep inside the tube. A tiny signal shot out, silent and fast. It traveled through wires buried under earth. It jumped from bunker to bunker, from seafloor to mountain deep, from space junk that looked dead, but was not. On the Coalition command ship, Vizier Carr sat in his high chair. Screens showed views from every landing team. He watched the Siberia feed with mild interest. Then, his science officer spoke. "Lord, the signal just spiked from that vault. Multiple echoes now coming from all over the planet. Ocean beds, Antarctic ice, North American mountains, even some in orbit." "What signal?" Carr asked, sharp. The officer checked data again. Unknown origin, but encrypted human code. Old, very old. It woke something. Our scans show power surges in hidden places. Reactors spinning up, doors opening, systems coming online. Carr waved one claw. "Probably backup generators or emergency lights. Nothing that can harm us. Continue the harvest." But down on Earth, the changes spread quiet and steady. In a deep cave under the Ural Mountains, lights turned on one by one. Fans pushed air through long tunnels. Pumps hummed. Machines that had slept for decades woke with soft beeps. Screens glowed green. Status nominal. All safeties green. Waiting authorization. In the Mariana Trench, an old submarine stirred. Its hull creaked as pressure seals unlocked. Reactors warmed. Water around it bubbled. Gentle. In orbit, satellites that looked like broken weather probes turned their dishes. Tiny thrusters fired. They aligned, slow and careful. Hidden bays opened just a crack. Railgun barrels extended. Silent kinetic rods waited, cold and heavy. In Cheyenne Mountain, deep under rock, blast doors slid apart on quiet tracks. Soldiers who had trained in secret for years walked to stations. Fingers rested on old switches that still worked perfect. Admiral Elena Vasquez stood in the Lunar Command Center. Screens covered every. Wall 1 showed the Coalition fleet hanging heavy over Earth. Another showed live feeds from Earth bunkers. Another tracked every alien soldier on the ground. She spoke into a quiet mic. "All units, this is Vasquez. Hold position. Do not fire until my word. They came looking for trouble. Let them find it." On the Coalition flagship, Vizier Carr grew restless. His many eyes flicked from screen to screen. "Why do the humans not fight?" he asked his officers. "They hide like cowards. Perhaps they hope we tire and leave." One laughed. Another said, "Maybe their spirit broke already." Carr did not laugh. He felt something strange in his gut. A small cold feeling. He pushed it down. "We increase pressure. Send more teams to key cities. Take their leaders, bring them here in chains. Show the rest what happens to those who resist." New orders went out. Shuttles dropped faster. Troops marched through streets. People watched from windows, but did not run. They stared, calm and steady. Some even smiled. The aliens noticed this, felt confused. Why no panic? Why no screams? The humans acted like they knew something, the invaders did not. Back in Siberia, Kress and his team loaded crates with warhead casings and missile parts. They planned to strip them clean, use the materials for repairs. The Voron scientists scanned one last device. It showed a countdown timer, but not for explosion, for something else. System-wide sync in progress. All nodes active. Final arming requires central command. The Voron froze. "Lord, we may have tripped something bigger than we thought." Vizier Carr heard the report. His claws tightened on his chair arm. "What do you mean, bigger?" The Voron explained. "These weapons link together across the planet and beyond. They share one mind, one purpose. If enough activate, they can strike as one force." Carr snarled. "Nonsense. Human toys cannot match our shields, our beams, our numbers. Destroy the vault. Leave nothing behind." Too late. The order came, the team turned to obey, but lights in the bunker flashed red. Voice spoke calm and female, in perfect coalition tongue. "Thank you for the wake-up call. The vault is now sealed from inside. Enjoy the view." Outside, the ice cracked wide. More doors opened under snow, under rock, under sea. The ground shook, gentle but steady, across the world. Old missiles rose slow from hidden tubes, their noses pointed up at the sky. Drones lifted from underwater bays, wings spread, quiet engines whispered power. On Luna, Admiral Vasquez watched the feeds. Her face stayed calm, but her eyes burned bright. She pressed one button. A single message went out on every open channel, to every alien ship and soldier. "You came for our secrets. You found them. Now you learn what they mean. Humanity does not forget its past. We keep every lesson sharp and ready. Stand down or face the storm you woke." Vizier Kr stared at the screen. His mandibles clicked fast. "Humans bluff," he said, but his voice sounded less sure. The fleet waited tense above Earth. Shields glowed bright. Weapons charged. Aliens looked down at the small blue world, and for the first time felt a tiny seed of doubt take root. The quiet before the fire had ended. The truth waited just below the surface, ready to rise. The day extraterrestrials learned the truth about humanity's ancient weapons. The Coalition fleet hung above Earth like a dark cloud. Every ship glowed with full shields, weapons hot and ready. Vizier Carr sat in his command throne, his many eyes fixed on the main screen. The human message still echoed in every ear. "Thank you for the wake-up call. The vault is now sealed from inside. Enjoy the view." His officers shifted, uneasy. One Voron scientist spoke again. "Lord, the power surges continue. They spread fast across the planet and into near space. We detect no energy weapons, no plasma, no exotic particles, just old mechanical hums and faint chemical signatures." Carr slammed one claw on the armrest. "Enough of this nonsense. Humans play games with relics. We crush relics. Send the first wave. Target their largest cities. Break their will. Show them true power." The order went out fast. Squadrons of sleek fighters dropped from carriers. They streaked toward Earth, like falling stars, bright lances, charged to pierce any defense. On Luna, Admiral Elena Vasquez watched the descent. Her command room stayed quiet. Officers stood at stations, fingers ready over controls. She spoke soft but firm. Hold fire, let them come closer. Make them commit first. A young lieutenant asked, "Ma'am, are we sure about this?" Vasquez nodded. "We show them only what they force us to show." The first fighters reached atmosphere. They fired clean beams of white fire that should have burned through any shield. The beams hit empty air over Pacific Ocean cities. Nothing happened. No explosions. No return fire. The aliens pushed deeper, confident now. They scanned for hidden defenses, found none that worried them. Then the sky answered, not with light, but with thunder. Old hypersonic missiles rose from hidden tubes under Siberia, under the Himalayas, under the Andes. They climbed fast on modern boosters. Engines roared hot. Their warheads carried no fancy energy, just heavy metal and simple fusion cores. They flew low. The ground avoided radar, swept past alien sensors because they gave off almost no signature until the last second. The lead coalition fighter saw the streak too late. A missile slammed home at Mach 20. The impact was brute force. Metal met metal at terrible speed. The fighter crumpled like paper. Fire bloomed bright. The shockwave tore through nearby ships. Shields flickered, then failed. More missiles followed in waves, pattern perfect. Some carried EMP bursts that flashed wide and white. Alien sensors went blind across whole continents. Screens filled with static. Comms died in screams. Vizier Carr roared, "What sorcery is this?" His bridge shook as reports poured in, losses mounting fast. Primitive projectiles slipping shields because they carry no energy to deflect, just mass and speed. One officer gasped, "Lord, these are not modern weapons. They match old human records from their nuclear age, the ones meant to end their own world." On Earth, the pattern continued. Kinetic rods dropped. From orbit, thin tungsten poles no bigger than trees, but heavy and fast. They fell silent. No trail, no warning. They punched through coalition capital ships like needles through fruit hulls. Tore open atmosphere. Vented crew died quick. Decks collapsed. Reactors breached. Bright flashes marked each hit. One rod struck the heart of a Sesrath dreadnought. The ship split in half. Fire raced along its length. Pieces spun away, slow and sad. The aliens tried to fight back. Their beams lanced down toward Earth cities. They aimed for Moscow, for Beijing, for New York. The beams hit hard. Buildings cracked, ground burned. But then countermeasures woke up. Old satellites disguised as dead junk, fired back. Railguns spat heavy slugs at near light speed. The slugs hit alien shields hard enough to overload them. One beam platform in geosync orbit exploded in silence. Its pieces rained as sparks. Admiral Vasquez appeared again on every open channel, her face calm, her voice steady. "You asked for proof? Here it is. Weapons are not toys. They are promises we made to ourselves long ago. If any force ever came to end us, we would take it with us. You tripped the locks. You woke the promise. Now you face the cost. Stand down or learn the rest." Vizier Carr felt rage mixed with something new, fear. He ordered full assault, drop the planet cracker arrays, target the moon base, wipe their command. The huge weapons on the largest ships spun up. Barrels glowed red. Energy built slow, but terrible. A beam meant to crack crusts and boil seas formed in the void. Before it fired, the sea answered from the Mariana Trench. An old Ohio-class submarine broke surface. Water cascaded off its black hull. Hatches popped open. Missile tubes cleared, one by one. 24 tubes held old Trident missiles. Each carried multiple warheads. Each warhead packed megatons of fury. The sub launched all at once. Fire trails climbed high, curved toward space. The coalition saw the launch too late. Point Defense tried to stop them, but the missiles split mid-flight. Decoys bloomed chaff clouds, confused sensors. Real warheads slipped through, detonated high in orbit. Not on ships, but in pattern-perfect EMP cascades. Bright flashes covered hemispheres. Alien shields collapsed under the overload. Electronics fried across the fleet. Ships went dark, tumbling blind. Carr watched his flagship lose power. Lights dimmed. Alarm screamed. His throne shook. He grabbed the armrests tight. "This cannot be," he whispered. "These are relics. How can relics do this?" A surviving officer crawled to him. "Lord, the archives we intercepted show the truth. Humans never retired these weapons. They upgraded them, kept them ready. Every new ship, every new defense tuned against our beams, our fields, but weak against simple mass, simple fire, simple end." The vizier stared at the screen. Earth still spun, blue and calm. Cities still stood. People still watched from streets. No panic, no chaos, just quiet waiting. The humans had not fired everything. Not yet. Showed only enough to hurt, not enough to finish on Luna. Vasquez looked at her officers. "We stop here. No chase, no slaughter. Let them run. Let them carry the lesson home." One officer asked, "What if they come back?" She answered, "Then we show the rest what waits in the deep vaults, what sleeps under ice, what hides in plain sight. But today they learned, humanity remembers its nightmares and keeps them loaded." The coalition fleet broke formation. Ships turned slow. Damaged hulls leaked fire and air. Fighters that still flew raced back to carriers. Stragglers drifted helpless in orbit. The mighty armada that came to claim a world now fled like beaten hunters. Vizier Carr sat in darkness on his dying bridge. His voice cracked when he spoke. "All ships retreat, full burn. Leave this system, do not look back." The order spread, weak but clear. The survivors obeyed. Engines flared, ships limped away from Sol, leaving silence behind. Earth watched them go. Telescopes tracked the retreat. Streets cheered. Soft, some cried. Others stood quiet, knowing the cost of victory was not blood, but memory. The old weapons had spoken their piece. Now they would sleep again until needed. The day the stars learned fear had come and gone. Humanity stood tall, not because it won with new power, but because it never forgot the old power. The terrible, honest power, born when humans thought the only enemy was themselves. The galaxy would remember that truth for a very long time. The day extraterrestrials learned the truth about humanity's ancient weapons. The coalition retreat turned into panic. Ships burned and spun away from Earth in ragged lines. Some tried to jump to faster than light, but their drives coughed and failed, damaged by EMP waves and kinetic hits. Others limped on conventional engines, trailing fire and debris like wounded animals. Vizier Carr clung to his throne on the flagship bridge. Lights flickered. Weak air smelled of smoke and fear. His officers shouted damage reports over each other. Hull breaches on decks 3 through 9. Reactor instability in the core. Point defense offline. We lose more ships every minute. Carr stared at the main viewer. Earth looked small and peaceful below. No mushroom clouds. No cracked continents. Just the same blue marble turning slow. The humans had hurt the fleet bad, but stopped short of total kill. They showed mercy, or perhaps something worse. Restraint, born from knowing they could end it all. Mandibles tremble. He forced calm. "Speak to me, Science Chief. What do the intercepted archives say? Tell me everything." The Vorin scientist floated forward. Crystal skin dim from stress. "We cracked their old data vaults during the brief link before they sealed them. The files go back centuries to their Cold War era, when 2 human nations built enough weapons to wipe their own planet many times over. They called it mutually assured destruction. Mad. The idea simple. If one side attacks, both die. No winners, only ash. They built thousands of warheads, missiles, bombers, submarines, all linked in systems that would launch on warning, even if leaders died." Carr clicked sharp. "Continue." The Vorin nodded. "They never used them, not once. But they never threw them away either. When they reached the stars, they kept the old designs, upgraded the delivery systems, new boosters, new guidance, but the payloads stayed the same. Dirty, heavy fusion bombs, some with cobalt jackets to poison land for generations. neutron bursts to kill life, but leave buildings standing. They tuned their modern shields against our beams, our plasma, our antimatter, but left gaps on purpose. Gaps for kinetic strikes, for simple explosives, for the weapons they knew best. An SSMA officer groaned from the floor. We thought them soft primitives who forgot war. They remembered it perfectly. They weaponized their own fear. Carr turned his many eyes to the dying fleet outside the viewport. How many ships remain? Less than half, Lord. The rest drift as wrecks or burn out. We cannot fight more. The Vizier closed his eyes for a long moment, then opened them again. Pull all data we have on human weapons. Send it to Coalition Command Priority Black. We must warn the core worlds, never come here again. On Luna, Admiral Elena Vasquez watched the retreat from her command center. Screens showed alien ships fleeing in disorder. No formation, no pride, just survival instinct. She turned to her staff. Damage report on our side. Took out their heavies. EMP blinded the rest. We lost 3 orbital platforms and 1 sub, took a glancing hit, but held. The staff officer saluted. Clean sweep, ma'am. They never touched a city. Never reached ground forces beyond the first teams. Vasquez nodded. Good, we keep it that way. No pursuits, send a stand-down order to all vaults. Lock 'em back. Sleep mode. Full reset. Deep under Siberia, the vault doors hissed shut again. Lights dimmed. Warheads slid back into racks. Silent once more. Dust settled, as if nothing had happened. In the Mariana Trench, the old Ohio class slipped under waves. Hatches sealed, reactors cooled. Quiet returned to the dark. In orbit, ghost satellites powered down. Railguns retracted, hit again as harmless junk. Cheyenne Mountain blast doors closed. Soldiers stepped back from consoles. Lights went red to green to off. The old promise went back to sleep. Vizier KR ordered one last transmission to Earth. His voice came weak over open channels. Humans, you have won this day. Leave your system. We carry the lesson home. Your ancient weapons are not relics. They are nightmares kept alive. We underestimated you. We will not again. The message ended. No reply came. Earth stayed silent. The Coalition knew silence meant agreement or warning. Either way, they fled faster. Hours later, a single shuttle approached Luna. No weapons, no escort. Just a battered pod with Coalition markings. It landed rough on the gray dust. Vizier Carr stepped out, alone. His armor cracked. Hemolymph leaked slow from joints. He walked to the meeting dome where humans waited. No guards, no ceremony, just Elena Vasquez and 2 aides. They stood calm as the tall insect approached. Carr stopped at the door. His voice rasped. You are monsters. Humans. Vasquez looked up at him. No, we are survivors. We built these weapons when we thought the only enemy was inside our own hearts. We kept them because the galaxy might hold worse than us. You proved that today. Carr lowered his head in the Celt gesture of total submission. We kneel before you, not in shame, but in understanding. Your kind does not seek conquest. You seek only to live free. We will carry that truth to every world. We will tell them. Approach Saul with care. The humans remember their old darkness, and they keep it ready. Vasquez spoke quiet. We do not want your empire broken. We want peace, real peace. Stay away, and we stay away. Come in friendship, and we talk as equals. The Vizier nodded once, then turned slow back to his shuttle. The pod lifted shaky and joined the last fleeing ships. Soon the sky cleared of alien hulls. Only stars remained. In the weeks that followed, Earth healed fast. Repair teams cleared wreckage from orbit, salvaged what they could for study. Children played in streets again. Markets opened. Factories hummed. Normal life returned. But something had changed forever. In quiet meetings, leaders spoke of the vaults. Not with pride, but with heavy hearts. The weapons had saved them, yes, but at what cost? The galaxy now knew humanity's secret. Not the ships, not the colonies, but the old cold promise. If pushed too far, everything ends. Galactic records updated fast. New entries appeared in Coalition archives and neutral trader logs. Caution, Sol system approach, only with full diplomatic clearance. Armed approach forbidden. Human defenses include pre-interstellar weapons of apocalyptic design. Mutually assured destruction protocol, active status confirmed. Survivors from the first contact fleet spread the tale in every port. They spoke in hushed voices of the day. The soft blue world showed teeth of ancient steel and fire. On Earth, in a small room under Geneva, a new generation of technicians walked old halls. They checked seals, tested circuits, reset fail-safes. One young woman paused at a panel. She read the words etched in metal. Since the beginning, if we fall, the world falls with us. She touched the cold steel, gentle, then turned away. The lights dimmed, the vault slept once more. Humanity went back to building, exploring to dreaming among the stars, but always in the back of every mind rested the quiet knowledge. The old weapons waited, patient and perfect, ready for the day someone forgot the lesson. The galaxy learned that day. Humanity's greatest strength was not in reaching for new heights, but in remembering the depths it once climbed out of, and the tools it used to survive there. Peace returned, not because fear ended, but because fear had taught respect. The respect due to a species that stared into its own end, and chose to keep the staring contest going, forever, if needed. The day extraterrestrials learned the truth about humanity's ancient weapons. The Coalition fleet shattered like broken glass, pieces spun away into the black void, engines flared weak and desperate, the once mighty armada now fled in fear. Vizier Carr clutched his cracked throne on the flagship. His hemolymph leaked slow from wounds. His many eyes dimmed with shock and rage. Retreat, he rasped to his remaining officers. Full burn to the jump point. Leave this cursed system behind. The ships that could still move obeyed. The rest drifted as cold wrecks, silent tombs for their crews. On Luna, Admiral Elena Vasquez stood in the command dome, her face calm as she watched the screens. The alien retreat showed clear, no pursuit. She ordered, let them run, let them carry the scars home. Her staff nodded, quiet pride in their eyes. One asked, "Ma'am, what now?" Vasquez turned to the view of Earth below. Now we rebuild, we remember, we stay ready. The ravaged lunar plain below the dome showed craters from stray beams, and debris dust settled slow in low gravity. A single alien shuttle landed. Shaky, its doors opened. Vizier Carr stepped out alone. No guards, no weapons, just a broken leader. His black armor hung loose. His steps dragged heavy. He approached the dome where Vasquez waited with two aides, no fear in their stance. Carr stopped at the airlock. His voice came weak and rough. "You are monsters, humans." Vasquez looked straight at him. "No, we are survivors. We built these weapons long ago when our own kind was the greatest threat. We stared into the dark and saw only ourselves. We kept the tools of that dark ready for anything worse. You came as conquerors. You woke what we hoped to let sleep." Carr lowered his tall frame in the Celt way of total yield. His claws touched moondust. "I see now your strength is not in stars, but in shadows. We thought you young and weak. We learned you are old in pain, old in resolve." Vasquez nodded once. "We do not chase you. Go home, tell your worlds the truth. Alone, but never unarmed." Carr rose slow, turned back to his shuttle. The craft lifted, dust swirled, then it joined the fleeing lights in the sky. Soon, the last alien ship vanished from sensors. Space grew quiet again. Stars shone cold and clear. Earth celebrated in small ways. People gathered in streets, shared food and stories. Children drew pictures of the old missiles that saved the day. Leaders spoke on screens. We stood together. We won with wisdom, not just force. But in hidden rooms, the mood stayed heavy. The vaults had opened. The old promise had breathed life again. Technicians in white suits walked deep halls under Geneva, under oceans, under ice. They checked every seal, every wire, every light. Reset codes flashed green safes, locked tight once more. One young tech paused at a warhead panel. He whispered to his partner, "Do we really need these still?" She answered, "Yes, because peace is fragile, and memory keeps it strong." The Coalition limped back to the core worlds. Damaged hulls. Carr sat in his dim cabin. Screens showed recordings of the battle. Old missiles slipping shields, kinetic rods punching clean, EMP waves blinding fleets. He watched again and again. Each time the truth sank deeper. Humans did not forget their past. They honored it with readiness. The weapons were not fancy. No glow, no hum, just raw, end-all force. Born from a time when humanity planned its own funeral and chose to invite enemies along. At Coalition High Command, the survivors gathered in a vast hall. Crystal walls glowed faint. Leaders from Kelt, Vorin, Esserath listened silent. As Carr spoke, his voice stronger now, but marked with caution. "We went to claim a weak race. We found guardians of nightmare. Their ancient tools are not relics. They are chains to their own history. Chains they keep oiled and sharp." The hall murmured in shock. One elder asked, "How do we respond?" Carr answered, "We do not. We add to the forbidden archives. Warn every ship, every world. Approach Sol with care, or not at all." Humans keep their oldest fears in perfect order. The entry spread fast through galactic nets. Approach Sol with extreme caution. The humans still hold their doomsday keys ready for turn. Other races read and wondered. Some laughed at first, then saw the vids. The proof the mighty Coalition broken by Stone Age toys. Respect grew slow but sure. Traders turned away from Sol. Scouts marked it red on maps. Whispers in ports spoke of the blue world that bites with forgotten teeth. Humanity returned to daily life. Colonies on Mars grew taller. Farms on Europa harvested more. Ships explored new stars. But lessons stayed fresh. Schools taught the old wars, the mad doctrine. Children learned why vaults sleep under earth. Because survival demands memory, not just hope. Admiral Vasquez retired to a quiet farm on Earth. She watched sunsets and thought of the day the galaxy knocked and got an answer. She hoped it was the last such day, but knew better. In deep space, a neutral station hosted talks. Envoys came humble. No demands, just words of peace. Vasquez's successor met them in plain uniform. "We share knowledge, we trade goods, but cross our line and the old ways wake." The envoys nodded. Fast deals formed, borders set. Sol stayed free, a beacon, not a target. Years passed, the event faded into legend, but not forgotten. Young aliens in schools learned of the folly, the day pride met preparation. Human explorers met other races, with open hands, but firm eyes. "We come in peace," they said, and meant it. But behind the words rested the quiet truth. We know war too well to seek it. Under Geneva, the vaults stayed sealed. Technicians passed the watch to new hands. Each shift ended with a prayer. May the galaxy remember, so we never need to remind it. The weapons slept, patient and cold, symbols of a species that climbed from its own ashes and swore never to fall back without taking the pushers down. Humanity thrived, not from lack of fear, but from facing it. The stars held wonders and dangers, but Sol stood ready. Ancient weapons whispered in silence. We wait, we protect, we end if must. The lesson echoed far. The day extraterrestrials learned the truth changed everything. Peace came not from weakness, but from the shadow of strength, too terrible to ignore. The end came quiet, but lasting. The blue world spun on its. People dreamed big, but remembered small. The galaxy watched from afar with new eyes. Respect born from one short clash that showed humanity's heart. Not soft, but forged in fire, kept cool until needed.